Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Alex McLeod, and in this video I'm going to answer the question, what energy work is there outside of Reiki? This question was asked on Reddit, but if you'd like an answer to your question, you can leave that in the comment section down below. Often when energy work is brought up, the first thing that comes to most people's mind is Reiki. This is not because Reiki is the oldest, nor because it is the most effective, but because it is the most popular form of energy work. That's because it has spread so thoroughly through the use of attunements and certifications that are fairly easy to get. You just pay a fee and attend a weekend course, and you can have a Reiki Master Certificate. That means that it is much easier to start a Reiki teaching business than it is most of the other types of energy work. For a yoga practitioner to become a teacher, it usually requires at least 200 hours of instruction on instruction. Although there is no general consensus as to how long one should be practicing Qigong before teaching it, the general rule of thumb is that you haven't even come close to mastery until you've practiced for at least 3 years for small mastery and 10 years for big mastery. That doesn't stop people from taking a weekend course and going out and teaching, but that's beside the point. There are other types of energy work besides Reiki. I've mentioned 2 already, yoga and Qigong, but there are other forms that are still older than Reiki. That's because Reiki is only a couple hundred years old at this point, whereas yoga is several thousand years old, and Qigong is at least 1,500, if not more than 2,000. Other than yoga, we have also some forms of shamanistic traditions include energy work. There are pagan traditions that include energy work. There are Christian traditions that include energy work, such as the anointing of oils and laying of hands. There is also the Jewish Kabbalah, which involves some small amount of energy work. I'm not particularly versed in those traditions, so I can't tell you what they're about. Feng Shui is a very popularly known form of energy work that nobody seems to think of as energy work when it comes up. It is about the rearranging of energy within an environment rather than within a person. In addition to old energy work styles, there are also hundreds upon thousands of newly created energy work styles. Reiki is somewhere in between, at a couple hundred years old at most, but we also have relatively recent things such as EFT, or emotional freedom techniques. There's emotion code, which deals with similar types of things as EFT does, both dealing with emotions in the body. There are also SRI, which is somatic respiratory integration. I'm probably not the best person to ask about this. You should ask a network spinal chiropractor about that, or just look it up online from somebody. Basically, it's a good idea to understand what each one specializes in, what they're good at, before you decide what to work on. Reiki is, well, because it's well known, I'm going to assume that you're fairly familiar with Reiki, but a brief overview, it's just about relieving pain and if the practitioner is particularly good, maybe actually causing the body to heal itself. That said, I don't know of many particularly good Reiki practitioners. It's not a slight on Reiki practitioners, it's just that most of the good energy workers that I've ever seen, they didn't get those skills from Reiki. Yoga generally uses asanas and pranayama to deal with the body's energy. You will, in an asana, you would take a position and stay there for quite some time in a meditative state, and it will rearrange the body's flow of energy based on which position you're in. And that's why you would generally go from one position to another, but much more slowly than, say, in a yoga class these days. Qigong, or also called Neikung, because Qigong is a very recent term in Chinese history, generally deals with the meridians, and it can be either dynamic or static, meaning you either stand in one place or sit in one place, or you are doing some sort of movement. And these have all sorts of various purposes. It's way too much to go into a video like this. I have a different video on the difference between Reiki and Qigong. I go into it a bit more there. Now, when it comes to things like EFT, it uses acupuncture points, which is a form of Chinese medicine, just like Qigong is, but using these points to stimulate particular meridians that are more likely to hold on to emotional energy. And in general, you would basically focus on a trapped emotion or an event of some kind that keeps triggering, and you would tap various points in order to send energy through those areas that are most likely to be holding on to the emotional charge, and this should bust through it eventually. Emotion code is, well, that one's a trademarked system, so it's a little harder to talk about, but basically you do muscle testing to determine what exactly the emotion is, and then you would, I'm vastly oversimplifying this, but you would run the hand with a magnet along the center line of the body all the way down. Usually you would not be practicing on yourself, but if you are, you would start here and go around the head. But if you're on somebody else, you would start, and go all the way down the back. But this is for a similar purpose. The center line contains two extraordinary vessels in Chinese medicine that connect to basically everything else. And so by sending energy through those vessels, you can sometimes cause a emotional energy blockage or stuck emotional energy to release and flow back into the system. Basically. Like SRI involves different breathing and hand positions to do very similar things, but getting the body's various energy areas communicating again. That's probably about it for all of the types of energy work that I am familiar enough with to talk about. I could go into a lot more detail on most of these, but you don't really need a lot of detail if you're just deciding on what to look into. So I was trying to keep this very brief and generic overview of each different type of energy work. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like, hit the subscribe button. I have just redone the meditation intro course for free at heartlotus.guru/meditation intro. And you will receive a couple of emails with video links to exercises that will help teach you how to enter a meditative state at will. Thank you for watching. I will see you next Friday.